In this video, we're going to look at the law of cosines. Deriving this is pretty similar to deriving law of sines. We did both of these in class. I'm not going to go over them again. You can look them up online or in the e-text if you want to. The idea here is that we've got a different set of values for law of cosines than we did for sines. So one version of this formula could be a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. And this looks like a really long and difficult equation, but it's not really. On the ends, you have the values that match. So if you've got side A here, you've got cosine A here on the other end. And then in between, you've got the other two sides that you don't have on the ends. So we've got B, C, B, C. Okay, and then the form of it's always the same. So if you wanted to write this with C squared on this side, then it would be A and B in the middle. Okay, so we can see the C's on each end and the A's and B's in the middle. And the form of it is always the same. So these letters are interchangeable. And then you could also do, I guess we may as well go ahead and write it in, B squared is equal to A squared C squared 2AC cosine B. Okay, so on the ends they're going to match, and then the other two go in the middle, and the order doesn't really matter. We usually just put them alphabetical. So let's say that we have a triangle here. So we've got A, B, C. Let's say this is 3, 6, 8. And it doesn't really matter what we go for first. I'm going to go for the longest side, and you'll see why in just a minute. So let's say we've got C squared Okay, so this is the version where we're looking for C. Okay, and again, I picked that because it's the longest side, and we'll see here in just a minute why. So let's plug everything in. We're going to have 8 squared. Remember that the sides are opposite the angle. So A is opposite A, B is opposite B, and C is opposite C. Okay, so C is going to be 8, A is going to be 6, B is going to be 3. Okay, and we plug all that stuff in. So we're going to get, this is going to be, I guess I'll go ahead and write it out. Alright, so we're going to have 64 is equal to 36 plus 9 minus 36 cosine C. And we're going to subtract 36, subtract 9. And that's going to give us 19, I think. Yes. Okay, and then we're trying to get cosine C by itself, so we'll divide negative 36 like this. Okay, so now we've got cosine C is equal to this. Now to get C by itself, we're going to have to do cosine inverse. Okay, so cosine inverse of this number is going to give us C. So when we put that in the calculator, that's going to give us 121.8 is equal to C. Okay, so 121.8 degrees is angle C. Alright, now the reason why I chose the longest side is that's going to give us this angle, our biggest angle right there. If this is an obtuse angle, then we can move on and do either law of cosine or law of sines for the other two. Remember, for law of sines, you've got to worry about the ambiguous case. But if this is bigger than 90 degrees, then you don't have to worry about that. So if you pick the longest side, that gives you the best chance of having the angle that's over 90 degrees if there is going to be one. There doesn't have to be one. But that's why I chose the longest side first, is to try to get the biggest angle. So now from here, since this is greater than 90 degrees, we could use law of sines, or we could use law of cosines. Okay, since we're practicing law of cosines, we'll go ahead and do the next one by law of cosines, but you could do either. Doesn't matter what we go for next. Let's say we want to go for angle B, then we would use this version. Okay, so we've got the b's on the ends, a and c in the middle, and that's going to give us, let's see, 3 squared equals 6 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 6 times 8 cosine b. Okay, so we've got 9 is equal to 36 plus 64 minus 48 times 2 would be 96 cosine b. Okay, now we got to get all this stuff away from the cosine b, so subtract 36, subtract 64. And that should give us negative 91 equals negative 96 cosine b. Trying to get cosine b by itself, so we divide by negative 96. That's going to come out positive, and we're going to do cosine inverse. So cosine inverse of 91 over 96 is equal to b. So we put that in the calculator, and we should get 18.6. Okay, you should have gotten the same result if you did the law of sines, and then if you tried to get the second angle for the law of sines, it would have been way too big with the 121.8. You can't have another angle over 90, it won't fit. Okay, so no ambiguous case here, no matter which way you do it. Okay, so you could do law of sines or law of cosines. And then the last one that we've got to get is A, and we can get that directly from B and C. So we could do 180 minus 121.8 minus 18.6, and we're going to get 39.6, I believe, for that one. Okay, so we started with the 3 sides, now we've got the 3 angles, and we have solved the triangle.